Hello people, in this video we are going to discuss about the chapter 1 of class 6 history textbook Our Past, that is what, where, how and when. Now the thing is, we read in books, we read in newspapers or magazine, and they say something, and rather mostly they say long back or long ago or something like 1,000 years ago or even 1 lakh or a million or even a century ago or several centuries ago. Such kind of words do we use. Now, we don't even remember what happened a week ago or a month ago, then how do we claim that we know something that has happened 1000 years ago? How does it happen? And then I'll say we can know all these things. We can know what food those people eat 1000 years ago, or what clothing they had, or what kind of home they used to live in, whether they were herders or hunters. They were hunters. They used to eat meat by killing animals. Or either they were vegetarian, or they used to have a ruler. They used to have a ruler, or simply they used to decide their matters by sitting in a village, or rather they were merchants, or they used to have merchants in those eras. Or even we can say whether they were priests of some kind of religion, or they were painters or artists, or rather they were chemists, or they were scientists, or anything else like that. We can even tell whether they used to play what kind of games, rather indoor games or outdoor games, or rather what kind of stories they used to hear, the stories that they used to hear. We can tell all these things, we can. But the question arises again, how? It is, how can we tell all these things? And the answer comes here is, we do search for and read for books that we find, or either we can look for bones of animals, birds or fishes, which do tell like what kind of animal they used to eat, on what kind of animal they were present in those eras. And then we can certainly go for and check for the clayware or the metalware that we find there, or in the area where we are about to claim that we know about this particular area or these people. And certainly we can dug deep to look for hidden treasure. We can look for hidden treasure, or the forbidden cities, we excavate them and look for them. Now, another question arises here again, who looks for them? And then the answer is, the archaeology and the history, or rather, archaeologists and the historians are the people who check for such things, who do check for such things. That is, it's a new word that we are going to introduce here. The archaeology. Archaeology, it is the study of human history. Remember, it's not animal history. It's a human history. It's of the nearby era, and then the prehistory, certainly the very old era that we are talking about. The study of human history and prehistory through the excavation of sites. Excavation is something that we dig deep inside the earth. Excavation of sites and the analysis, yes, this is important word, analysis of physical remains that we found on those sites. And then it comes as history. This is the study of past events, that whatever has happened, whatever archaeologists find, like let's say they have searched for a toy, and then the historians will come and they'll say, okay, if you have found a car, that means in those in that particular era, they people must know, or they must know what a car is. Or if at all the toys that we find comes in the shape of, let's say, a bullock cart, let's say it's a bullock cart, then our historian will say, okay, if we have found a bullock cart, that means those people used to have bullock cart and they knew about a bullock cart. And such kind of things the historians do, and then they just link up all these things. They do link up whatever archaeologists find, and rather even archaeologists do a similar kind of thing. They just link up all the facts regarding whatever things that they get from those particular sites. Okay, then it comes what kind of things that they get, and what kind of books the archaeologist can get from those particular eras. The answer comes is, they used to have two kind of books, normally two kind of books. One is called as the manuscripts, manuscript, and the other one is inscription. inscription. When we say manuscript, here the word manu means handwriting, handwriting or handwritten in Latin. So hence the word manuscript. And then inscription, something which is inscribed. Okay, usually we find manuscripts written on soft papers like the palm leaf, like we have one here from the Rig Veda. It is from the Rig Veda. It's a palm leaf, that the paper kind of things that we see here. It is, this is a palm leaf, this is a palm leaf. And then here we have a birch bark, this is a birch bark. And this specimen, the original specimens, are kept in the history museum in Pune in Maharashtra, India. Maharashtra, India. Here it's the original manuscript, it's the original manuscript written on a birch bark. It is also from the Rig Veda. It's also from the Rig Veda, and the books on Rig Veda that we read today in English or in Hindi or in whatever language that we read are being deciphered, or rather are being translated from this particular original manuscript. And then here comes the inscription. Inscriptions are something, or some kind of language which is engraved on a stone with chisels and hammers. So here it is, this particular inscription is from Aramaic, in this Aramaic language and the Greek language, in the era of Ashok, which we have found in Afghanistan and nearby area, Afghanistan. Okay, and now let's hear another word, that is decipherment. Decipherment. We are just enriching your vocabulary here. This decipherment, or the word decipher, it means coding from one language to another. It is coding, or decoding rather, decoding from one particular language or the old language to a new language. It's not translation. Remember, it's not translation, it is rather understanding these words. For example, here we see a particular kind of figure. It looks like a lion, and hence we just decipher it, and we say it is an L that we can keep in the English language. Well, this is an inscription from the Egyptian Egyptian history. Okay, that's hieroglyphic script. And then we can also search for, that is, the archaeologist can also search for clayeware or metalware. Here we have an example of a pottery. This is a clayeware, certainly. This is an example of a coin. Just check what kind of coins do we have today. We have a circular coin in today's era, and in those times it is from the Mohenjo-daro. In those times they used to have these kind of square or kind of rectangular kind of shaped coins. These are coins. So such kind of things do tell us like what kind of people they were. If we find a coin, then we can say they used to have commerce. That is, they used to have commerce, or what kind of trade the people used to do. If we find pottery, and especially if we have such kind of designed pottery, then we can say they used to have craftsmen or craftsmen with skills. It is quite something which is logical, and even we can, or even a normal person can do. So certainly I won't say that the historians are normal person, but certainly they have an extra knowledge that they can tell us what kind of art form they had, and they do tell all these things. Now another thing comes is history simply past, or is it past? Then we say it is not just past, but instead it is the pasts. It is several pasts. And also, if we check the title of the book, it says our pasts. It says our pasts. That is not telling about single past of particular one person or particular one civilization. We are talking about several pasts of several people living in those civilization. For example, if we say there are civilization, let's say we talk about a civilization, Mohenjo-daro. Mohenjo-daro. Well, this is quite a tedious name, and it's It's a civilization that used to live nearby India, near the Indus Valley. Indus Valley. Indus Valley. Well, when we say Mohenjo-daro, then we not only talk about this particular civilization, we talk about the people who were living in this civilization. And when we say the people living in this civilization, it includes the craftsmen, it can include the painters, or the, we can say, the painters. It includes the carpenters, it includes the carpenter. It includes the leaders of those era, it includes the leaders, it includes the women, it includes the merchants, and all such kind of people. It's a long list. Then we can say that it was not a past of just Mohenjo-daro, but it is the past of the painters living in those era, the leaders of those era, the women of those era, or the merchants of those era, and even it includes the kids like you, or the kids that we see all around us. It's a map of India where we see that where we found several kind of civilization. The prominent ones that we see is this particular one. It is the Indus Valley civilization, where we see this is the Indus River, the longest of all. This is the longest river that we see, and the people used to inhabitate in these era some 5,000 years ago. And then we have in the lower India area, in the central area, we have this Ganga. In nearby the river Ganga, we had civilization. Nearby river Narmada, we also had civilization. So certainly we do check all these areas, that is, the archaeologists do excavate all these sites, and then we get to know about these past. And then we just tell what date we found all these things. Now, another thing that we should read here is the dates. What does this word date means? When today someone asks what's date today, then we can simply say it is 16th of March, let's say 16th of March 2013. Then certainly it includes a date, that's a number of the month, then a month particularly, and then the year. But when the archaeologists or the historians find all these things, they are not sure whether which month or which particular date the thing existed, but certainly they can precisely, or not precisely but nearby, or rather I'll say approximately, they can say which year that things is manufactured of. Usually they write the word BC or AD after the year. For example, 500 BC. When we say 500 BC, that means 500 years. It says 500 years before Christ. It's before Christ, before Christ, before Christ, before Christ. And similarly, if we write AD, that is Anno Domini. Anno Domini, it means in the year of the Lord, in the year of the God. Now, these particular two things, that is the BC and the ADs, are something that we mention after the year. For example, 500 BC and 500 AD, that means there's a difference of 1000 years, 1000 years approximate. Okay, now the thing is, several people do not want the word Christ or Lord to be used while writing the dates, as they say that it has a communal effect. They do mention that it has a communal effect. Communal effect. When we say communal, it can tell us about a religion, it can tell us about a religion or particular community, and hence the word communal. So several of the historians, they do argue that they don't want to use such kind of things which mention a community, or which is biased regarding a community. Hence they created another word for mentioning dates, which is BCE, that is before Common Era. CE, Common Era, that is, again, it is quite similar to the Christian era BC, and then the AD, Anno Domini. And another thing that they use is BP, before present. For example, if we say 200 BC, then in terms of BP it will be 2000 years of today, or you can say 2013, let's say it's today's date, then 2013 years plus BC, that's 200 years before Christ, it comes out to be 2213 years. That is, it will be called as 2213 BP. It will be called as 2213 BP, that is 2200 years ago from present. Okay, so in another word, we can say BC is equal to BCE and AD is equal to CE. That is, the Anno Domini is equal or it's similar to CE when you see any date in the mentioned in the books, or BC, that is before Christ, is equal to before Common Era, if you see in the particular box. I hope this particular chapter is clear to you now. Have a good day ahead. Take care. Bye bye.